going to come on for a couple more minutes because I'm still finishing a little bit of my curling. I was outside, I did a workout, but I need to finish my curling. But the way the charts are moving, I'm like, you know what? This is going to be not beneficial to us if I don't come on right now. So you're just going to have to deal with me finishing this curl real quick. But I wanted to show the market because we went down to that $1.34 area, and now this would be a better time than not. First, we're gonna have to see if and this is why we're starting right here, retest my box here because just like every other time in history, we could not hold these areas. It's just astounding. In my opinion, this is the distribution zone with XRP, and we never hold it as a, after we come through it, try to break out, we never hold it as an area that seems to be any kind of support. And then it always forces us back down into the resupply. Like we have to resupply back up. And it's like, when is it going to be the time? There's no doubt about it. I've already put this out here as the third supply zone. We've never got in there. But I think that's supposed to be supply 4, isn't it? I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Why is it that way over there? There was a supply 4. Have I ever said that I don't like this update from have I mentioned a time or two that I don't like the new update from YouTube? I mean not YouTube, from TradingView. If I haven't, this new update is so annoying. But no, on a serious note, please make sure that like button real quick. If you're wondering why I'm standing, it's because I still want to finish a workout I have. So you're going to have to literally watch me work out for a second. The rest of the set. Well, maybe 2 or 4 or 10, depending on what I do. But it's the way the chart is moving. So in the daily, it's seriously moving to the downside. We broke down out of our areas. I always believed we were going to go back into supply for a 4th time. 86 cents is the target, but could we get a logical retest back at $1.54 this morning? I don't know if we're going to come back that far. Just being straight up, I don't know if we're going to come back that far. So make sure to hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll do, for the point of reference, I'll do the time and we'll do the date. But I really appreciate it, especially I can't see who's here right now, but the members of Tom's Army, especially the ones who allow me to do what I need to do here, I greatly, greatly appreciate that. So with that being said, good morning. 9:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Thursday, February 5th, 2026. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So as we've seen, it's been a bloodbath. XRP down 8.8% this morning. We had Bitcoin go down to 68,000 or 69,000, low 69s. I've seen a lot of reports across the board. Oh, this is not right. This happened because the Epstein files came out. It's like, guys and gals, I don't know how many times I have to say this. If you understand the charts, you can predict a news event. We talked about it for weeks. Something's going to happen because these charts are showing a massive breakdown. If it was only because of the Epstein files, how can I be ahead that far? It's impossible. I showed everybody the exact spots where if you were still in the market, you could have liquidated this market and you would be killing it right now. I showed the exact spot when XRP got rejected around that $2 mark where that should have been the exit strategy if you were following. It was actually a little higher, but once it hit that zone again, you know, if you missed out on the 350, there were obvious signs that were building. So now the question is that $1.34 able to hold? And that's why I wanted to come on now. I apologize for having to lift, but I'm very dedicated and I have to finish my stuff. So it was either we missed this moment together because I was still at the back end of this workout, or you just have to deal with it. So, and I go to fatigue, so I'm not fatigued yet on that set, but we need to look at this. Let's see. So we broke down out of the bearish pennant, which is fine. This was our target from yesterday. I think we did a fine job here to measure this. I mean, where's that, 134? This should have been at 134. That's what we were talking about. I don't know why we have it at 133, but you guys all know 134 from yesterday. So it filled that target. I just want to make the point, like, it filled that target. It's not lower. It filled it perfectly. Now the question is do we run all the way back and retest the drop point? Because we are rather oversold in the smaller time frames, which I don't even care about that. Once you get into oversold and stochastic and this is a great time to understand this. With the stochastic, RSI, so the stock RSI. But even if you're just looking at the RSI, I like the stochastic because it's more volatile. So you get an earlier rendition. Like the RSI ends up being a very big lagging indicator. A lot of times with the stochastic, you start to see that early movement and you're like, wait a minute, it still looks like it's breaking up. And it starts to rush down and you're like, uh-oh. We're getting it. Or if you get a break up, here's the real, the break up or breakdown. I like the stochastic because even if you're in the 4 hourly or day, whatever the case may be, I like to look at the 2 hourly especially and then the 4 in this scenario. But if it's getting overzealous movement and you're going in the up direction, but you don't have the buy to sell ratio to support it or the buying volume to support the move up, you're going to see in the stochastic it rushes into overbought so quickly. And that all that's telling you is that you've exhausted yourself. Unless you get a volume spike in that scenario, you've exhausted what you have in the area. And now you got to come back down to a supply base. You got to find somewhere to distribute more XRP so that we can buy in, and then not us, but so that retail or whoever would be interested would buy in. So that's just the way it goes. All right, that's good enough. Even though I still want to I might end up doing more, I don't know. So, but I got to focus on this because we only have so much time together. So let me grab this chair and let me grab my water. And then another thing that just drives me nuts. Yeah, I'm going to have to do one more set when I talk about this other thing. And then I promise I'll sit down. But 2 points here. And maybe if I'm lifting this, I will stay within. So, 1, we got to understand. When you buy the dip to buy the dip, I told everybody who kept saying they were going to buy the dip at $1.50, buy the dip at $1.50. Don't buy it there. See, when you're buying the dip, make sure it's an actual dip. And the point is, if you bought it at $1.50, you're down almost 9% right now. Nobody wants to be in that spot in 7 hours. Like, if you're being honest with yourself, you don't want to be there. And once you get there, you end up on the wrong side of the trade. Stop being the person. And if you don't understand this, you can always join the classes. You can always try to take this from a deeper standpoint here and try to understand the market outside of just the charts. I mean, there's so many things that play into this. When you're an investor, and this gets lost on everybody because they want to make quick, easy money. At the end of the day, even with XRP, you're trying to be an investor. If you're not averaging the rate of return you need per year, you're not doing it right. You can't. And some people are like, well, Tom, that doesn't make any sense. Well, let's just show an example. Had you have bought at 30 cents, 40 cents, 60 cents, 80 cents, $1 even at this point, you're beating the rate of return. You're still up 37% even from $1. Over a 2-year period, even if you average a 18.5% increase in the dollar or decrease in the purchasing power of the dollar, you're staying ahead of inflation. It's what you're trying to do. We can rationalize it. We can justify it. We can try to tell ourselves and make ourselves feel good. We can't even whine or dine our own feelings so we can look at it differently, or we can actually do this for what it is. There's only 2 ways to do this. You either believe in I'm going to be the exit liquidity and I'm going to tell myself any excuse I have to get by this, or I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to take control of my finances. There's no in between. You ever wonder why all you ever hear is diamond hands, buy the dip, hold strong, hodl? can never go that much farther. It's the same reason why you see hookers. It's the same reason why you see OnlyFans. It's the same reason why you see porn stars. Same reason why you see horse racing. Because they know the average person is so addicted to whatever they want that if they want sex, they want it now. If they want gambling, they want it here. You know, so they try to offer you the instant gratification. I got a breaking news story for you. Instant gratification is never the right answer. It's not. So I just want to, that's all. So let me bring the level down because I was working out. So, and then we got to go into another topic that is just gut punching. Do you know more than 161,559 XRP traders in the last 24 hours completely washed out? 161,000 plus XRP traders valued at over, what was the number? Oh, I didn't, not the number. The amount of XRP that was lost to retail is so disgusting. Your fellow brothers and sisters, the XRP army, gave back to the exchanges in the last 24 hours 530 million XRP. 530 million XRP. That is crazy. What does that mean? That means the exchange is now out of the 100 billion total tokens, and keep thinking about this. In just 24 hours, they were able to take it out of retail's hand and put it into their everlasting, what I think is a big psyop, but it's also a big conspiracy. All the banks, all the institutions, all of the ones interconnected with the XRP Ripple standard, with RLUSD and this whole ecosystem, I think they all have a ploy to take as many tokens out of circulation as possible. And they just took out 530 million in 24 hours. So everybody's like, oh, they're going to do a buyback. They don't have to do a buyback. Why would they do a buyback? They don't got to give us any money. They're getting it for free. Just think about it. They're taking these for free on every liquidation, and retail can't. They just can't control themselves. They can't control themselves. Now, here's another pill that's going to be hard to swallow. Remember, if you were a buyer at $3.30, and you were one of the people that said, I have $13,000, $14,000, I want to have 10,000 extra, because there was a lot of people that said they had 15 grand to spend, but they couldn't afford 35, so they're going to buy like 3,000 XRP instead. Had you have just waited until today, now you could have over 10,000 XRP. But instead, you would be sitting on a 60% drop roughly, or 70%. That's why the timing the market is what gives you the time in market. Everybody who says they want time in market has no freaking idea what they're talking about. Unless you're talking about before big rallies up, buying gold and silver, and you want time in market, okay. Accumulation over time. But if you said, I'm buying gold and silver today because I want time in market, better today than yesterday, but I gave the warning about the head and shoulders. I wasn't joking about it. Same with the mining stocks. I expect them to get absolutely Do you know, if I wouldn't have sold my mining stocks before the drop, when I gave the warning for a long time, and then I finally was like, I even got rid of B2 Gold. It's the last straw. I would be down, and I had ended up closing it at 116,000. This isn't a flex. This is to be brutally freaking honest. Today, my account would be valued, when I did the estimation, it was about, well, this is before the drop. It was $68,000 roughly would be in the account. Think about that. So I would have lost $50,000 in a week. Or week and a half. That is some crazy stuff when you start thinking about it. It's the same thing in crypto. I tried to say it over and over and over. Metals, mining, they're not exempt. It's quite the opposite. If you like crypto, you should like the mining stocks. Because when they're in the right spots, you get paid the dividend always if you do the right ones. But like B2 Gold for 2 years was paying a 5 to 6% dividend roughly, and no less than 4.5. And that whole time we were holding from January while it was settling up, it was paying 4 and 5 and 4.5. It's craziness. So it's the same thing with crypto. The reason why I beg the audience to go liquid, and I'm not a financial advisor, but I tell you what I do for a reason, and I try to explain in a way that only I can why you need to get out. I don't want this audience. I mean, look at Algo now. It's under 10 cents. So yeah, it might have looked good at 20. But remember, it came up from these areas. All of this, look, this is getting bad. VeChain's going to be such a good deal when it finally gets to where it's going. Because if these fall out again, good night. Good night. Everybody's looking at the RSI stochastic because it's oversold. I got bad news for you. When it's oversold like that, that just gives it more reason to break down again in the daily. When it starts pushing up into trying to get out of these ranges. There's going to come a point when we're going to have some kind of volatile reversal to retest these drops. That weekly looks like crap. And there's a lot of room to move down in the weekly still. And all these artificial moves up kill us. Every single time it moved up, I said this is going to be short-lived. And unless you're a swing trader, you should hate this. Because now it's trapping even more people. Even more people. No. Where am I at? Sorry, I was like way up. Where am I at? Who's the last comment now? Let me scroll down. I'll get back. Oh, I see Jorge. I'll thank you in a sec. Mr. Stock, time in market is great philosophy in stocks because they're less volatile. Doesn't hold true for crypto. Different. No, I disagree, Mr. Stock. That's a universal law. Time in market is the way to go because it gives you the time in market. I'm telling you right now, if you buy Nvidia or if you buy Tesla or if you buy Google or some of these ones that are way up right now, maybe it used to hold true. These markets are going to go down probably before midterms. I've been talking about this scenario for a long time because the lower they drive these markets, the better it's going to make it look when midterms come. Imagine they drive the stock market down and all of a sudden we just keep dropping. I mean, it might not because, you know, Trump's got to hold on to something and not Trump, but just the U.S. government. But if it started to rotate a little bit, and I'll just show you, it doesn't have to rotate a lot. But every time, if they could get a rotation, what is going on here? Now it doesn't want me to show it. Whatever, I guess we're not showing the stock market. But the point is, if they could get it down to 45 or 43, and everything is going down simultaneously, there's going to come a point when we get closer because the midterms, by the end of the year, there's going to come a point where they could turn this market around and leading into it, they could be like, we're up. Look how this market is just taking off, baby. And they're going to be able to start playing an angle if they do it properly. And that's what I think they're going to try to do. So I thought for a long time that was going to be the play here. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see like a $2,000 down day or more in the Dow. It just, something feels off. Talked about it in the metals yesterday. Like this is such an artificial run up. It's so laughable. I mean, look at that. It was laughable. It's a clear right shoulder that was, I mean, it's laughable. And like, that's the only thing that I warn everybody about when you're watching Peter Schiff and Mike Maloney and some of these guys for metals. I came on and said Peter Schiff's going to act like before that drop that it can go nowhere but up. And now he acted like we're in a firm bottom. It's like, what are you kidding? Firm bottom? I know you got to sell some stuff, but this is where you got to be honest with people. Because if you're a first-time buyer, sure. If you buy now and you got 50 years, you know, no matter what, you're going to be up. But I hate to break it to you guys. We're not billionaires like they are. We can't use that same strategy. When we make money, we're going to have to somehow store it and save it so that we have enough capital to move forward. Like, we don't have the ability. I don't have the ability to be up $50,000 in something and give back 40 and say, oh, I'm happy because I'm still up 200%. You know what I'm saying? You know, I've seen so many examples. I'm almost mad about one because so many in the audience didn't take advantage of that movement. What the hell happened here now? With XRP Healthcare. What'd they do? Go out of business? But we had a historic movement from 1.7 cents all the way through. Why is nothing popping up in anything now? My like tablet is like, Um, Anyhow, forget that. We'll just talk about this right now. That's going into another side. But we got to focus on this. XRP, and this isn't bullcrap. This is the way it is. We knew this was coming. I've been talking about this until my head was about to pop off. Not because I wanted to talk about this, believe me. I didn't want to talk about this. It hurts. It hurts people who are watching. You know, most people don't want to watch somebody who's talking bearish when the market's still green. And I always say I look like an asshole when I'm sorry, family friendly, but I look like a complete dope when I talk about it in real time. Just simply look at nothing's loading. It's taken forever. Like there must be something going on here with people looking at these charts. But we just call a spade, man. We're in a downtrend. We had no volume going up the whole way. Right now, Algo is targeting 932. Does it come down there before a little bit of a push up? Nobody knows. The miners are going to get their ass kicked. They're going to get, I'm telling you right now, if you think it's bad in the miners, you're going to see here. I wasn't joking when I sold this at 330 on that second attempt when you wouldn't even have thought to sell it there because it was still consolidating. But I had a feeling that this was not just going to come to $1.83. We might come all the way down to $1.03. You know, and it's always quick and swift. I talk about it all the time. Miners are great until they're not. They're great. And I can't wait because if they come down as far as I think they can, I'm going to be loading the boat with a lot more money than I did last time because this is a perpetual swing. And eventually they're going to force out. I think they're going to force us back down to maybe $53 in silver. I could see, remember the $66 I kept talking about on the way up, that's a point of interest that we have to pay attention to. And I know how fast they can come down. This is not, most people, this is their only rodeo in metals. I've been kicked around, stomped around. I've been put in the vice. I've been brutalized in ways you can't even imagine in the crypto market through the metals. Well, I guess you can imagine it in crypto. That's the one place you actually can imagine it, ironically. I mean, that brings us... Ooh, would they have the guts to do that? Oh, Nelly. Oh, baby. Remember when I talked about all of retail that was taking out all the call options on silver for later in the year because they thought it was a can't miss to 200? We talked about it on the way up. Oh, they could liquidate the entire lot. And JP Morgan the first time at $118 roughly just happened to take out like $1 billion short on silver. Just happened to sell the put, which is a short in the stock market. We just happened to sell the put at 74 when it only went to 71. Just happened to use all that money to buy silver bullion. And then what do you think he did? What do you think the entity did when it got back up to 93? Or 92? If I can see it was coming up there, look how close it came. And I had no way of knowing exactly where. I said 93.61. That's remarkably accurate. It came within $1.50. I said that after it came down to 71. That's what I'm saying, man. The charts are not a riddle. They rhyme, baby. And everybody wants to act like they're the greatest thing since sliced bread until everybody's in. 100% of people are in the money on silver. You think it's going to keep going up? And it was at $120 and everybody's in profit. There was nothing left, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's like every time Johnny come, and this should be a lesson to all of us again. Remember when crypto jumped the shark back in January? I'm like, listen, guys, and 25, everybody's acting like we're still in a bull market. And I talked about the bear market starting all the way back here, and we made the flip. That's so long ago now, that video. So long ago. It only makes us look better along the way. And this isn't the first, second, third. We just, not only did we call the bear market in 21 when I started, in March 24th of 2021. I've never missed a day of doing this, by the way, heads up. We called the top of that bull market and sold XRP out on the top. So we bought 47-cent average. Would have been lower, but I only go by what I had when I started with the audience. And then $1.66 we sold out. I proclaimed that it was going to go down to 52 cents before we had a bull trap. And if you go back in my history, you can go watch the videos. It went to actually 52 cents from that bull market. Had an epic bull trap back to like $1.18. And I told the audience, I'm not buying till sub 40 cents when it hits that uptrend. And it ended up being around, first time 28, but we made a trade to get some capital at 44. And then we rebought for good until we sold in this market top, or in this market, wherever you decided, or whatever you decided to do. Called the top in 21, called the bottom in 23, based on the quantitative easing and the money printing coming to light again after quantitative tightening and just what was happening. Called the top in crypto in 25, while simultaneously calling the bottom in metals, while telling everybody in 22 to take the profits from crypto's bull market of 21 and to buy gold when it dropped down and it went down to as low as under 1700. I did a silver stacking series to put the metals, the profits from that bull market into silver when it was at 17, 18, 19, 22 to 26. And then in January after this bull market, I called the bottom on the mining stocks and told us to flip our money from crypto into the mining stocks. And my God, ladies and gentlemen, what happened with all of that? That has changed my life forever, and I hope some of you as well. And it's going to change it even more if we get this next part right. If I get this right, it's the granddaddy of them all. I've now set myself up in a position, and so should a lot of you have. I do this all for free, and I'm not a financial advisor, so, I'm vastly underpaid. Now, the ones who I teach classes with, that's a phenomenal. We just got done with our second class here, so it's just phenomenal. And you can learn more about that in the video description below and or pinned comments. I teach it on Zoom, but you're able to watch it over YouTube. I use this platform strategically, but it's through a teaching setting through Zoom. So you feel like you're just at a college course. And it's going to take us months before we ever even open up a chart, but it's so cool. Look at XRPC. Down 12.9%, down to 14. We talked about the Mendoza line when you start looking at these. I wasn't joking. I was not joking. I know these stupid ETFs. We get them at $6, $5, $4. Okay, that's something. But at 25, you can... I wouldn't even wipe my you-know-what with it for 25 or 20. I may not know a lot, but I know... when something's going to break down. I know how to read a chart. I don't know why I know how to do it so good. I know the economy. I know what's going on. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I know this. I know this shit. And I don't just know one market. I know them all. Because if you don't know them all, you don't know any. And so much money is made not by shorting the market, by getting out of the way sometimes after making big profits. It's just unbelievable. When I talked about all that purchasing from these big businesses and MicroStrategy, I said either they're blind, Vanguard, or they're doing this because they strategically need to write off losses at the end of the year to balance their gains, which is what happened. I guarantee it. They made so much money in the emerging markets, I know because I'm in the emerging market fund with Vanguard. They made like 40-something% last year alone. That's insane for a mutual fund. Like, that is so insane. So they need to write off capital gains, and nobody understands it. So what do? They buy this, they lure the market, and they make a deal with probably the government, and they make the allure. And guess what happens? Retail's over here picking their nuts off the floor right now. They're not even picking them off. They ain't got any arms left. They didn't even just take your balls. They took your arms with them. They picked your balls up with your own arms off the floor. They didn't even give them back. They just walked away with them. And what the hell is going on? And we're just letting them do it. And why is it going down? I don't know. Maybe the Clarity Act? Do you ever think of that, everybody? The Clarity Act is the worst thing ever invented for crypto. They're going to give you the allure of a pump, but from where? Right, Julie? We're bleeding. Well, we're not bleeding, but the market's bleeding. Trading with J-Ride, welcome in, my brother, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 4 years with the XRP Phoenix badge. I'm not trying to go off on a tangent. I'm not yelling at anybody. We're calm here. We're just trying to be honest. This is a shit show. Julie said I'm a shit show. It may be true. But, you know, this is just grotesque. This is grotesque. Like, this is the epitome of squeezing out retail. And if you're not part of my Facebook page, for God's sake, join it. I started this 2 months ago. And we're at 13,000. Yeah, we went over 13,000 followers yesterday already. Today, we've picked up 50 followers today already, which I'm honored about. Our views hit a baseline. This went way up because we had a 1 million view post. I became monetized 7 days ago. And like I said, it's going to alleviate some pressure if I can keep getting these kind of views. Yesterday, I had 226,000 views. Today, I have 56,000 views. And I know because I got $5.61 in revenue for the ads. And it's equal to $1 per 10,000 views. So that alleviates pressure from YouTube. So if I can make money there, I don't have to do stupid sponsorships. You see what I'm saying? So, and the member of Tom's Army help alleviate the pressure. But you guys need to look here because it's cool because I put info. We've got the XRP ETF collapse. 93 million gone in 1 day. The gold and silver stuff, but mostly for what's going on. We got the Riot Bank. I did this on YouTube as well, but then you get it in writing. If you don't want to just see the updates, you can do it in writing. Talked about this, even on both sides. So, I mean, you can look at this, all of this. And I even have a writing for Facebook that has to do with what I'm doing on YouTube right now. But I didn't want to give it away for the people on Facebook, so I waited to put the writing out until after my live, because that's the kind of guy I am. YouTube first, after all. But this is so crazy. 10,000 tokens 1 year ago, $35,000 it would have cost you. 1 year later, 13 grand. I mean, that's the point. It's such a psychological trap that I wish people could get out of the way. And I always say more people are going to watch me when it's falling in the moment, and even more people are going to watch me when it's really rising. But remember when we were talking about these drops, we had 70 people in here. I'd have much rather had 154 in here those days. Some days we did. But everybody's getting so sick and tired of the big drops I was talking about. But guys, I hate to break it to you. I don't know why, but maybe I am the Grim Reaper of crypto and I need to stop talking about it going down. And I always say it's a coincidence that when I have my hat on when it's going up, or it goes up right after, that's a coincidence. It's not because of my hat or not having it on. Maybe I'm just not having a good hair day that day, so I put my hat on by coincidence over and over again. Mr. Jorge, thank you so much for gifting a sub and also being in Tom's Army for over 1 year. And the gifted sub went to a beautiful soul. Josh got it. Josh before free. Congratulations on being in the Army for your first month with the emoji badge and me being abducted by aliens. And that is my face superimposed on that emoji badge. I encourage you to go onto YouTube, go here. And now that you have the ability, go into memberships and click on the Telegram link. There's going to be a link for the Telegram. If you're not in there, click on the Telegram and get into the Telegram. A lot of information. There's 502 people. I put my content out every single day so you can see it. I have a pager side that I do sometimes talk on, but a lot of times I just interject myself in the conversation. Oh, that's a good idea. Let me check the email real quick because Mrs. Stott said hers didn't go through. Oh, yeah, here it is. So they all went through. Beautiful. This is from the class. Yep, they went through. Mrs. Stott, I'll send you... Oh, that's excellent. So I'm going to add you guys all to that email list. But yeah, make sure you get into the Telegram. There's just too much information to pass up if you have the ability to go in there. I'm telling you, I'm getting sick of all these people hitting me up on Telegram, though, for promotional shit. It's driving me nuts. It's like the bigger my channel gets, the more people are trying to lure you in with BS. So I just evolved myself. Hey, I can make profit there. I'm going to have to work harder and do it somewhere else now instead of getting the easy blood money. Oh, who was it? Decent Wallet or somebody just sent me a message for a collaboration. The first one from an XRP wallet. But there's some terminology. Oh, man. I'm going to have to read through it so I can show everybody if it's something that I suspect. Anyhow, go in here because We have what MQ does, the calculated and smart leverage trading, and it's phenomenal. It's next level, and you need to look at it. There's some terminology sections you can learn, but also Nick, when he's got time, he does a lot of stuff. He works full time though, and things like that, just like MQ does, and a lot of people in this community, hard workers. But it'll help get you on the right track. Now, if you're coming in this morning and you're like, you know what? I'm going to take advantage of these drops. I'm going to short this market. Just on the leverage side, be careful when you're starting to short at 12.6. But does anybody remember the talk we had? I know it looks good right now, but we're going to get that 12 to 15 to 20 to 25% in one day, 40% in a week or two. Like, I was serious. Come on, go. Our squirrel friends. Here you go, guys. Hey, there you go. Walter, here. Here you go, Walter. Goes. Get it. Goes, you want some food? Yeah. Come here. There you go, Kate. Yeah, I know you like that. All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, this is brutal. If only somebody could have seen it coming to warn us. Oh. I know Mr. Stott made me happy today because she actually, I remember when I first met her in this community, her and Mr. Stott, and both of you, thank you for being in Tom's Army for 3 to 6 months. Now, I really appreciate that. But she was excited about the drop, not fearful, actually enjoying the drop. And that's what I was trying to teach people in my community years ago. Once you understand the charts and you can do what you need to do, you love the drops. Not because you're shorting it, but because you know if you have liquidity on the sidelines and you're not in the positions, or you have the money and you didn't spend it on the fashionable not dip that everybody buys, you'll see how astounding it is when we get to the bottom how many people don't buy. The same people who watch for years buy at 2 and 3 and 350 and 320 and 250, 275, $1.90, 215, $1.50. When it gets to 45 and 50 cents, if we get that honor again, you'll see how many of them say, I'm not buying it, it's going to 10 cents. I guarantee it. Last time, nobody wanted to buy with me at 34 cents because they were convinced it could go sub 10 or sub 20. Because there was a possibility that I showed in my charts, but I said, you don't bank on the sub 20 unless it happens, because we have this trend line. This is our buy zone. I know it can go sub 20, but are you really going to pass up that price? And people did, and they passed up 1,000% gains. I have some people who rode it 1,000% with me and didn't sell it still. They gave back 22,000. And that's a lesson for all of you who rode that with me and didn't do what our mission was. Our mission was to turn 3,500 into 35,000. We did it. We did it. That was the guarantee I made back then, that if you buy it with me at 30, well, it was 3,400 to 34, but I put 35 to 35,000 for the challenge, and we did it. How many people can say for free they led you to a $3,500 purchase, and within 1 year, 6 months, and some odd days, in 18 months, you were going to turn 3,500 into 35 grand, but it was up to you to try to figure it out, what to do with it. And I proclaimed long ago, once we hit that all-time high, we would have at least a 60% pullback, if not greater, because you had everybody who was trapped for 8 years from 2017. You better believe you were going to dump out. You better believe they had to have some kind of grand plan to have a bunch of retail buying in to hold that exit bag. What better way than the government coming out, which was my key exit strategy, saying, hey, we're going to be the crypto capital of the world, buy crypto. I'm sorry, but I said it a billion times in the moment. When was the last time the government told you something to help you? Or they had your best interest? Like, they're not just going to tell you to buy a sure thing. In fact, when they said it was a sure thing was when you should have known that like it was a whole psyop. Instead of us watching, well, I did a freaking series on it that nobody watched to try to get people involved. Then again, I have to remember, I did not have almost 50,000 subscribers, and I only had, 8,000 at the time. Crypto Mentor 99, if you're watching, CM99 did me a huge shout out. And he's so vastly underappreciated. He's still at 13 or 14,000 subscribers to this day, and it's pathetic. The guy should have like 500,000 subscribers. He's the realest guy I've ever seen in crypto, honestly. And he's an older guy, but I had 8,000 subscribers, and he went on one day and he goes, I don't understand how this guy only has 8,000. He's like, I've seen a lot of people in my days, because he's been in since like 2018. He's like, this guy is, he's like, and he gave me like the biggest props I ever got. He's like, this guy does something that nobody else basically can do. And he told his audience this, and within a day, I went from 8,000 to 9,000. I'm like, holy, what the hell's going on? And then somebody's like, oh, this guy, Crypto Mentor 99, shouted you out. And I went and watched the station. I'm like, why did this guy shout me out? And he was so nice about it. It was unbelievable. He gave me my big break, so we should give him another break. I'm a paid subscriber of his channel. One of two. Or see him. One time I'm going to go to his channel right now because I always forget. But there's a lot of people on. Please. He's like a big component too of XDC. I learned my earliest knowledge from him. But now he's more talking about his life too. He talks about crypto, but he likes to talk about stuff. But look, 4 years ago he was talking about the XRP, XLM, XDC, IOTA, Algo. Come on now. He was another one who knew. This guy's the true OG. People should really give him his flowers, but nobody really does. I don't think they like him as much. Oh, he's at 15,700. That makes me feel a little bit better. But this guy's phenomenal. I wish more people. He did so much stuff for this space. It's actually pretty crazy. He talked about it in 2020 for you guys with XRP. And he talked about DGB back when it was at 1 and 2 cents before the run up to over 20 or up to 17. I mean, he talked about it. Look at Litecoin 2000. Isn't it funny? Look where Litecoin, or not Litecoin. Sorry. He was talking, I forgot about Litecoin. But that was part of that. Oh my God, we're bleeding. But just give him a chance. Give my friend a chance. Oh, excellent. Hey, and just put in his comments, say, about XRP Future Millionaire sent you here. Because the people who used to follow from him would used to say, I seen you on CM99s. So you could just, I think it would make him feel good too. He's somebody I would love to have on and talk to. Like me and my brother have been talking about collaborating with each other in a way because YouTube allows it now where we could both be on at the same time. This is what I was afraid of. Here it comes. We're bleeding. Here comes the bleed out. Here comes the bleed out, folks. Michael Saylor's nuts just hit the floor. The banks are getting on the phone. Excuse me, Mr. Saylor. You're much underwater here, sir. We're gonna need some capital. Oh shit. I got no money. So on a loan. I sure can't sell this shit. Because if he sells it, it's gonna go way down. Remember the plan? This is all. Oh baby, it's all coming to plan. This is exactly the problem with crypto. I pound the table every time. Do you know how much money people just lost? In my own audience? Buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip, buying the dip. Stop buying the dip. I'll tell you when the dip is over. If you guys didn't trust me before, don't you trust me a little bit more now after 4.5 years, 5 years? Going on 5 years next month. I can only rinse and repeat so many times. Like, it's all about patience, strategy. You got to get the payoff. Got to get the payoff. There might be an opportunity with Algo to come down farther. Algo seems to be going behind. And now it seems to be retesting maybe that 961. I'm not saying to get frisky or nothing like that. But Algo, there was a clear opportunity yesterday even, but it looks like Algo might return rally to 963 maybe to retest that. Who knows? There ain't no pressure here. But they're going to have to reverse at some point. So maybe it's going to come from here And now all of a sudden XRP is going to go from $1.28 back up to $1.34. Like, this is getting embarrassing now. We already filled out the $1.34. We broke down the descending triangle now, which is a problem because that's an 86-cent target. We do have this built all the way down to 89, which that's not built, but that's that area. Well, yeah, it is, because this is something that I was theorizing that we have a bigger problem if this breaks down, because I realized that this was developing, guys. And listen, I don't want to be that guy at all, but let me show you a scenario that will knock your nuts off. Not even knock them off. Okay, here, how about this? If you're queasy, if you want to know the truth, if you are hopium filled, well, you better stay. But if you don't want to, I'm going to give you 3 seconds to leave before I break your heart of why this is the ultimate. Not, I hate the word shakeout. It's the ultimate shakeout. It can never happen again. It's not manipulation the way everybody thinks. There's not some asshole sitting in the back room. So, everybody pictures this. The billionaires sell, 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 sell. It doesn't happen that way. They're not even in control. No, Michael Saylor. So basically what Michael Saylor does is, with MicroStrategies, he started giving out common shares, which means he would artificially inflate the supply of MicroStrategy to get the capital. So he would sell that, take all that money and buy Bitcoin. Then when Bitcoin was going up, his account would show more positive, so he would take out loans against the Bitcoin he already had. And that's how he kept buying more. That's why he would only buy. Everybody's like, well, why does he always buy when it's going up? Because it would be more valuable. He would have more inherent value, which means he could borrow more against himself. So now we're sitting in a spot where, you know, it's all bullshit. I've been talking about this for almost, I can't believe I'm saying this, a half a decade. If it comes down here and uses 91, and let's just say we get a sharp rebound, and we use this and fall down, or better yet, we just fall out, do you know what the ramification of this move would be? Because I don't know about you guys, but I 100% firmly believe that Clarity Act is going to kill crypto. It's bizarre. It's designed to do it. I honestly don't know if it would break down just that quick from here, but that's not the big caboose of this pattern. Like, it's scary when you start looking at what actually developed here. You've already had multiple hits on resistance, folks. Like, and if that actually built up like this and we broke down, could it happen? Could that actually be what's going on from farther back? It doesn't need to go out that far. This is a projection. Actually, it does need to go out from that far. It's no longer a projection because we're running down right into that area. That's how we made the projection to 91. I forgot. Holy Toledo. Holy shitballs. There's no way, because that would break down way too far. That's why we had to do it from in here. I was going to say, that can't even work from there. That's why I did this, because I wanted to see this level. If it did something like that, or better yet, I was going to take it from here if you've seen in the beginning, because I just don't think that there's enough space to break down that much. Yeah, there's not. If we break out of there, what's going to happen if we break down from there? Which would be incredible. I can't help but smile, actually. Because there's... I don't know about any of you, but the MQ, some of the other ones who understood what was coming and made the... Can you see what's going to come for us because of what we've just done? Honestly. Oh, no, I didn't say I'm buying at 86 cents. I don't know where it came out of my mouth and I said that. We'll see. I don't even know what's going to happen from here. I have no plans on any buy zones. I'm just watching. I'm letting it happen right now. I'll let you know. But I do know we should get some volatility at some point. But every time, this is craziness. And it's not one market. Look what they're doing. You're not remember what we said. You're not safe in silver. You're not safe in gold. You're not safe in the miners. You're not safe in the cryptos. Where are you safe? You're not safe in the dollar. What are you supposed to do? LAES, patience, folks. Remember, we're not buying it till it goes to where I want it to go. I didn't just draw it out for no reason. I got all the time in the world to wait for this. I got time. I'm particularly waiting for like that $1, which probably will never come, but I got time. WTI can keep going up all at once, but that's the only play left for the U.S. government, so they can't just let it go unabated. I'm convinced of that. Hello, Julie. There's 200 people almost watching. See, everybody, I told you, I have faith when the market's tanking or rising so quickly. People will come here when they need the truth in real time. They might sugarcoat it to themselves when they're in good profit and they don't want to hear me talk bearish or whatever. But when people need to come to somewhere, they come here. They want the facts. They want facts. Millennial, if you go back that far, I mean, there's some that we have moving averages that we're so far under now. But we have going back in time. I mean, let's go to xrpfuturemillionaire.com. Because I created this so and I need to talk about it more. I created this so everybody could get in here. And I know on mobile that it's hard to look at a chart. I don't know what's going on here. Everything's so slow when it comes to TradingView. But I did this because it's hard to look at things going back in time. And I used to talk about this. Look at this in real time. So now on my chart, as you could see what I was just looking at on TradingView, because I'm on mobile, you can only look at it from like a month back. Well, I mean, you can look at it back, but you're looking at it from a monthly time frame. And we can go back farther. I've shown you how to do it, but it makes it a lot harder. If you go on here, and we go into crypto, any bond, anything in any market, you can look up on this website, XRP. And I paid for it for 5 years, have it a real time. What did I just do? So that I don't have to wait. I don't like to wait. I need to see things in real time. No, I want to open this. Why does this... TradingView was doing the same thing on the other side, too. I don't understand why I keep skipping around. Okay. Keep skipping around. I don't know why. It's exactly why I wasn't bouncing around when I was on my app just now. TradingView. There we go. So let's take this out real quick. So if you have a hard time looking at it on the phone, let's do it here. Go to 12 months out. And then what I would encourage you to do, go up to... Okay, let me put it here real quick, because it's going to be harder to pull an indicator out in the 12 month. Let's put it back here so I can put the indicator on real quick. So indicators, what I want you to do is go to the EMAs, but you want to do the 20, 50, 100, 200. That's how I like it. 20. Oh, wait a minute. It doesn't show that now. They updated this. God, I hate TradingView now. So the exponential moving averages. That's only that one. Let's see what we have it right now. Oh, TradingView. Why do you got to switch everything like that? What do they... I got to do it on my pay side now? That's brutal. That is actually brutal. I used to, now you have to be in the pay side of it. That is so dumb. Yeah, they have the basic EMA lines now. That's not even going to do us any good. We can use the ribbons. It's not the same as my colors, but that's fine. At least we get the 20, 50, 100, 200. Now let's go back here. I really don't like the fact that we have to do it like that, though. Trading View really needs to get their stuff together. People are going to stop using it if there was anything better. In the 6 month, we're holding support right now. But if we break below that, I mean, you're talking about, in all reality, if you come below there, your next line of concern is all the way down at like 71 cents in the 6 month. In the 12 month, we're coming down towards it. You're looking at right around $1.02 for the 1 year moving average. So we're coming there. We're getting close. But that don't look good. To me, that don't look, there's nothing about that looks good. This even suggested coming down into that 78 to 80 cent. Like all of this doesn't really look, not really. And this was if we came up here and did the uptrend like this and kind of made it work. But that, I don't even like that chart. I don't. Man, it looks like we're really going to go back to supply for a fourth time. That is insanity. Anyhow, John, Tom, I know you need to be careful, not an advisor, etc. But how will we know when you've identified a bottom? Thanks so much for all you do. I'll say I bought. Simple. I'm holding a position now for the long term. This is, in my opinion, the bottom, or we're within 10% of the bottom. I always implore capital when I think we're within 20% or 10%. And then I start buying the next couple of weeks or couple of months. We don't really have a baseline right now. All I know is I'm going to watch 86 with my eyes wide open to something deeper that I was talking about, that 53 cent area. And that's important to me because we had an 8-year consolidation. For anybody who doesn't know the chart, we had 8 years or 7 years from January of 2017. Is this back in logarithmic? No. Okay, good. So back in 2017 or 18 in January, we hit the top. 21 to market top, hit a second time. We started this uptrend. Well, after we broke out, we've never back tested this move. So now this uptrend that we rode ends up becoming the support when you go too far out where you can't even back test this because this would come way too far. So now we're looking to back test it via the uptrend. And that puts us at 53 cents. And that would be an appropriate back test for a almost 7+ year pattern of consolidation. And now we're outside of what, even if you wanted to call something a bullish pattern, we're outside of it. The descending triangle told us that this is it's a fake. This is fake. Once that descending triangle came into play, it was imminent and urgent that we broke out of it. And that's why this rejection right here was the nail in the coffin. That's why that was the perfect area. Once it hit that rejection, it was your third tap. That should have been the final sell zone. If you missed out on that, you had the reversal that got us over $2 again and failed. Then we came all the way down and failed. And like every step failed. This was an opportunity and a half when it came to $1.77. Hell, it had already came down to the historic liquidation. So you got an epic opportunity because it made a huge bounce back. But yeah, it's been a shit show. It's been an absolute, that's the best way to put it. But you'll know, John, and thank you for the $5 super chat. I encourage some of you, join Tom's army. Pay it forward if you were able to have liquidity. Pay it forward if you gain some knowledge here. You know, I would love to see more people support the channel and the pay it forward mentality. I don't do paid advertisements. You don't even have to watch an ad during this live, and I could have a lot of revenue with 209 people that I'm giving up on. I think it's more important to have a fluent show and show you what needs to be done. But I would love to see more members of Tom's army. I would love to see that. Julie, the better half, absolutely. You know, when most people are there with their significant others, at least hit the like button. At the very least, we have 209 people watching. Only 123 people hit the like button. That's the best thing you can do for me. I need to grow this content. We moved over the next 100. We gained 120 people on YouTube from yesterday, which honestly is a miracle for me. We're less than 300 away from 50K. That's also a small mountaintop that we climbed. Give us 1/2 of the way to 100,000, which seems unbelievable. Juan, thank you so much for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year. Define, thank you for 6+ months with the XP Predictor. No, MC Prosperity, buying like a mofo, no fear. I don't mind your philosophy, but why not just buy when we get to where we're going instead of giving it up on the way down? Like I see everybody buying at $1.70 and $1.50 and $1.40. Even if you would have just bought today at $1.28 instead of all the other moves, you saved like 14% from yesterday. When we were on live yesterday, if you bought at, I kept saying it at $1.50, you're going to be down so quick here, it's going to suck. And now all of a sudden from yesterday, if you bought, you're down 14%. I don't know about you, but that's not what I want. Doing it in all stages, not at once. I can respect that. I understand that. And we could, I mean, in all honesty, everybody, we could seriously reverse at any time. This is just now me saying to the market, ever since we got that rejection, when Bitcoin came back up to 90 something thousand, or when it came back up and retested the rising wedge finally, that was our moment. When we couldn't even come up. We didn't get up far enough. We got stopped out here, and I had that red liquidity zone. And I said, if we get rejected in that liquidity box, it's over. That would have been the nail in the coffin, because now it's telling us we can't even get back up here, because there was such a liquidity up there. And I had that circled when we were making our way back up in a red box. And I had it going across farther. I think it was something like this. You had to get through a big siphon just to get up to that rising wedge. It was like this. And it was a huge liquidity trap. But once you got into it, the pressure, once you got here, it was like the top of the mountain. You had to get past there just to try, and we couldn't even get there. Literally nothing, it couldn't even do it. Put in a classic head and shoulders topping reversal. And everybody was trying to say, oh, it's extended on the right side. On what philosophy? That's not extended. In fact, you took the stairs up and you took the elevator right down the damn stairs. I mean, you took the steps, and then you took an elevator and turned them into step elevator. Like you went, oh shit, the elevator ran out. We'll take the steps. Oh, here it is. It's working again. And now we're just, at what point? Where does it end? Where does it end? XRP's market cap today alone is down 12.6 billion. We're at 79 billion. And honestly, it makes me sick sometimes, because you know this is a convenience. This is the ploy. I know, Crypto Cooter. I remember you talked about that in the live yesterday, I believe, or the day before. But having a stop loss, or by having a buy order at $1.50, and imagine like it immediately fills up. And you're like, oh, I got my $1.50, and it goes like $1.56, right? Or whatever it did the back toss. And you're sitting there going, wow, that's the quickest 3 or 4% I've ever made. And now you're down 14%. And it hasn't even been one trading day. Like, that's the thing. It hasn't been one. You thought it was bad? 161,559 traders were wiped out? Oh, that number's getting worse now by the minute. I can guarantee you that number's worse now. When I wrote that up, we were at $1.34. Like, holy smokes. CJ2 Pilot, thanks for being in Town Center for over 2 years with the XP 589 Moon Badge. Says, it's simple. I've learned to keep powder on the side and wait till I hear Tom say he's buying. He can't tell us what to do, but he knows the stuff. And I can tell you when I buy, because this is for historical data. Historical evidence. But if I buy, I also say, oh, I'm looking at this for a swing trade. This isn't my forever hold like I did with XDC a few weeks ago. But I don't like to do that. I'm not a trader by choice. I like to accumulate when I feel like it's the right time. I just haven't got that feeling yet. And every time that we could have maybe got the feeling to get proof, when it came back up to the area that we were more comfortable, we had no volume. Volume predicts price as much as I hate it. And then we talked about algo coming back up before the rest real quick, because it seems like it's been lagging a little bit. So it looked like it wanted to retest, and it's come up quite a significant amount now from there. It wanted to try to see how it reacted at 962. That's what we were just talking about. Because I said, don't short right now. This is the time when people are going to start shorting. Well, this is where the ladder in process, depending on your strategy, I can't do it from here. Just because I can see the chart, and it may not work out what the chart says, but just because it's in my vision, same thing with MQ, he can't do it here either because he can see what's unfortunately can happen. So, it has to be And like, if you guys want to know more, just not even in the charts, because we're not even into the charting classes. It's going to take us months before we probably even see a chart. There's so much that goes into it before. Join the classes, please. All you have to do is go into here. And it's a way to just pay it forward to the channel. Pay it forward for what I do in a way. And I think it's the best bang for your dollar. It took me 5 years to finally come up with this because I thought it was the right time. I was asked by so many people. It was the right time. Oh, wait a minute. No. I want you to do it through the live. I made it like this. So if you are looking at the live, in the video description below, or the pinned comment here in the comments that we all see. And Trading with J-Rod, thank you so much for the $10 super chat. Says, Tom, do you think money will find yield in stocks? AMC looking really good. That's a good question. We'll take a look at that in just a sec. I want to finish this before I forget. But if you're interested in the classes, right there, they just started on Monday. It's not what you think. It's not. Oh, and if you click on that, it'll bring you right there on YouTube. I'm teaching it through Zoom, through a Zoom classroom, but I decided to do it through YouTube so people could watch, so they wouldn't have to buy the Zoom stuff and pay for classes. But all you have to do is hit upgrade when you get here, and there's an upgrade button. I've already upgraded to live classes. I pay for the classes too. I'm interested in them. And then there's a live database that will be built. You'll be able to see this on your screen, but you won't be able to click into it, unfortunately. When you see it on YouTube, these right here for the live classes, it's there's two. This isn't for the live classes. There's different categories that were there for some reason. Something I think I did way in the past. But yeah, it's nice. It's just a nice thing. So go in there if you're interested. Figured I would mention it once. If you want to continue your learning, it's much to do with a lot outside the charts. A lot to do. I don't know if there's a few people in here that are in the class, obviously. Yeah, do not revenge short. Absolutely. Who made that comment? Hey man, thank you for that and being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge. Really appreciate that. Best value based on price. Oh, thank you, Crypto Cooter. I appreciate that. I think it's been great. I know it's an hour class, but yesterday we were there for about an hour and a half, roughly. I got there 10 minutes before to talk, and then we talked for about 20 minutes after. It's a great environment. It's a great environment. If I have time tomorrow, I'm thinking I want to do an impromptu. It's not going to be to teach the class, but we're going to kind of go over a few things. We'll see what happens, though. That's not a guarantee. But there's things I want to start in the next couple of weeks with the community, the group there. Let's see. What else did I miss? I know I missed a lot of you. I apologize. Define, thanks for being a very trusted mod in this community. Greatly appreciated. And being in town's already 6+ months with the XP Predictor, and all your help you've given me personally it's not forgotten. So Smokes, I appreciate you. Say, I feel very relieved to have sold when I did. I know, and I remember you were stressing about it. Now, it's been a little while now, but you had a stressful moment, and you trusted yourself. And I told you, even if you want to give me credit, don't give me credit. You have to make the decision. And I thought, I couldn't say what to do, but I said, in my opinion, I think you're doing, if I was you, I would do the same thing. If that was my portfolio, I would have done the same thing as I believe the way I said it to you. But I can't say anything because I'm not a financial advisor. Ironically, in the class, I may not be a financial advisor, but I can give more financial advice, as you guys have noticed. I'm not going to tell you, like, hey, go buy here and there, but I can give you a more direct financial answer, which is kind of nice, to be honest. Actually, it's really nice. And you're expecting a little bit of that because you're paying. Don't wish bad on anyone, but Sailor may be building a cardboard mansion under an overpass today. I don't wish bad on anybody, but that guy, you know for a fact, he donated $25,000 worth of stuff so that he could be on the in with all of you know what. And it's ironic they have him holding the bag here. I think it's so connivical that this is what they do. Hey, think about this. What if he did something on the island that we're not supposed to talk about, right? With the little kids, and they have all this evidence because they always do. And they said, hey, Michael, I know you got that company MicroStrategy. The U.S. government's got to unload a bunch of crypto, and we want value. If you don't want the world to see what you've done, you're going to start buying Bitcoin, and we're going to show you exactly when and how to do it. And I don't care how much money you lose. It's either you do this and bankrupt your company and your holders, or we're going to release some deep shit on you. I think that's what's happening. Think about it. Makes so much more sense than what he actually says. I mean, think about it. What if that's what it really is? All these people that were part of that list and on that island and doing the stuff with the kids and worse, they got them by the balls now, the fortuitous ones. And now they're forcing them to do all this stuff and be the collateral. That would be epic. This is we've got about one more step here for Bitcoin before Michael Saylor literally they're gonna cut his nuts off for collateral. No, seriously, Michael Saylor now. We got to look this up. This is getting bad. Oh, we are going sub $1. Maybe not today, but that's the goal.
Bitcoin is undergoing a severe stress test, trading below $70,000 for the first time since late 2024. This has indeed pushed Michael Saylor's company Strategy, formerly MicroStrategy,
4.5
into a position where they are currently underwater on their total holdings. The financial situation, average purchase price, Strategy's latest filings show an average cost basis of approximately $76,052 per Bitcoin. Current loss, with Bitcoin...
Okay, let Michael Saylor be the example, because he was buying at like 17 and 21. He bought the top. If he had done nothing, he'd still be up like 3-4x, and he could do whatever. Don't be the guy who buys the bottom and buys all the way to the top because you just want to buy. He rose his average up by like $40,000 or $50,000. Don't be that guy.
Trading near 69,000 minus 72,000, the company is facing an unrealized loss of roughly $4.5 billion to $5 billion. Total holdings. They currently hold 713,502 BTC, acquired for a total of about $54.26 billion. When does a margin call happen? The common fear is a...
Number 2 is what you should be worried about.
The actual risk is more nuanced due to how Saylor has structured their debt. 1. Convertible debt, low risk. Most of Strategy's debt, billions in senior notes, is unsecured and non-recourse. This means there are no margin calls possible on those specific loans.
Now think about this at the back end. He has to pay back the principal if he doesn't have the money, mostly in 27. Imagine if this whole market tanks that far. What do you think he's going to have to sell to pay back all of that when it gets closer to that time? And he's got to have enough value there to pay back the principal. If the price goes down too far, he doesn't even have value. Number 2 is what I would really pay attention to. The point of no return, but number 2 is where he's going to get in trouble.
If Bitcoin stays low, the risk isn't a margin call, but rather the inability to pay back the principal when these notes mature, mostly in 2027 and beyond.
I'm thinking
2.
that, Mr.
Bitcoin-backed
Scott.
loans, high risk. The company has previously used specific Bitcoin collateralized loans, like the $205 million Silvergate loan from years ago. For these, the margin call price was historically estimated around *21,000. However, the company has hundreds of thousands of unencumbered Bitcoin, coins not currently used as collateral, that they can pledge to keep the loan-to-value (LTV) ratio safe. 3. The point of no return. Analysts suggest that true financial ruin, where they might be forced to sell assets, would likely only emerge if Bitcoin fell to *25,000 OR below. AT current levels, 70K, the margin of safety has narrowed significantly, but they are not yet at the point of a
If he gets
A margin call is essentially a...
I agree. I agree, Millennial. I absolutely agree with that. Okay, fine. I will read it myself. So, basically, if the price drops low enough, likely sub 30, to trigger a true margin call that they couldn't cover with extra collateral, before selling, the company would have to sell a portion of its Bitcoin to pay the lenders. The market impact, because strategy holds such a massive amount of the supply of for sale, would likely create a waterfall effect, potentially driving the price of Bitcoin down toward the 10 to 20,000 range as other
Since it is
institutional
February
investors.
5th, 2026, and Bitcoin is currently trading.
What the hell? AI just starts talking on its own. Range as other institutional investors and ETFs might be forced to deleverage as well. So the ratio is separated. So here's the separation. The ratio is separated. The stock MSTR has plummeted much harder than Bitcoin itself, recently down 72% from its peak. Because it acts as Bitcoin on steroids, when Bitcoin drops below the company's cost, remember I used that wording myself, the market begins the price and the risk of dilution, selling more stock as a low float, a low price to stay float, which is what you're seeing now. And then there was if Bitcoin drops significantly, his collateral can shrink from 1 billion to 600 million. And then there is forced liquidations, and he's not going to have enough. So if it falls far enough, and then why it's dangerous, if a whale like Michael Saylor were to get margin called, it creates a liquidation cascade. The price would drop. Saylor would be forced to sell 50,000 Bitcoin to pay the bank. That massive sale pushes the price down, and it would just be a cascading effect. I think the waterfall effect is true, but I feel like we should have something's got to happen here, unless they're just giving it all up right away, because it looks like, they're grabbing us by the throat here. I mean, look at some of these prices. Why didn't you buy back some of these after you sold out to hold more than a swing? Because of this. I didn't buy H-bar with everybody on Winning Wednesdays back in 2023 at 4 and 5 cents. Just to sell it out at, well, it was well, we can call it here too. There was a sell there. I remember we sold it over here, bought it back down here, and resold it for one of the final times, besides a minor swing we took in places. But we didn't buy it at 4.5 to not take anything when it went up to 38. At least buy it somewhere in the 30s. And then I didn't sell it at, plus 30 cents after buying it around 4.5, 5 to buy it back here. I'm buying it back when it tells me to. So now it's got to come all the way back down. In my opinion, it's got to come all the way back down here where I bet X marks the spot. I haven't been shy about it. Then we'll talk. We'll have a conversation when it gets there. Is that the final resting place? We sure as hell hope so. That's 50% down across the board. So if it's not there, that means XRP would be going farther than 60-something cents. I don't know about that. If it goes farther than that, we're going down to the depths of despair, as we know. XDC right now. And I told you it was not the exception to the rule. It was telling us exactly what was happening. So I circled where the next movement was right here at this 3.2, 3.15. If that breaks down, it could go as low as 1.1 cent. I put this liquidity box. I went back in time. We did it in real time yesterday. This is the TVG, Tom's Value Gap, which is still the fair value gap. So in its history, we never came back to 1.1 cents after the volatile breakout. But I can make an argument here that if you look at this, technically, we could come all the way back down there if we wanted to back test the movement, because we created a pattern, and this is why we have a 76% ratio, which sucks, but it is what it is. So we created an area. Consider this your flat resistance of an ascending resistance, right? So we had an ascending triangle basically formed, which is a very bullish consolidation for these kind of setups. I think most of you know that by now. Flat resistance, higher lows, which is the complete opposite of the lower highs, flat support. What did we not do? We never back tested this breakout. And yeah, it's great we came here, but that was more than a 25% differential. We did it yesterday. That's not close enough. So now if we get back down into what I consider the fair value gap, without going any deeper into the technicals, we've now created a situation where, okay, well, if this doesn't hold, which In most cases, it probably should. But if it doesn't hold, I mean, you're talking about, like I put on there, 76%, 77% down from there. That's a huge, huge movement that could happen. And that would just be if it wants to retest the all-time strategy. But I firmly believe that we're probably coming down to retest that gap. Now, some would say, well, Tom, isn't the gap over here? No, it's not, because he came all the way back through, broke out, and he never came back down to retest this breakout. I'm sorry, but in a cup and handle, that now becomes the new area of content. So, right now the technical target's 86 cents. So you're not waiting for it to break something. You're waiting for it to not be able to invalidate the structure on XRP, period. And right now I've been saying, now you have to come back up to invalidate this structure. We've already filled that out. So now we're working on the next descending triangle, believe it or not. The bigger one. God forbid 91 cents is actually on point here. Actually, it is on point. Because this is supposed to be a little bit higher. But that's on point. Because of what we just squeezed. So remember when we started the descending triangle? We started something just as bad in there. You know, for the down direction. I mean, that aims towards 91. But this descending triangle from this chart that gave us a lot of information, that is targeting 86 cents already. So, unless we invalidate this by retaking $1.56, in my opinion, that's just my opinion. You know, I'm not the end all be all, but unless we retake $1.56 to invalidate this movement to 86, the technical target right now out of that descending triangle is 86 cents. We've been talking about it, I feel like, forever now. Once we identified the descending triangle, we thought up here, but it couldn't be confirmed in October. Then when it came down here and then bounced back up, we got true confirmation here early January. And even then you could have sold at 244. That was a big hint there of what my strategy was. A big hint. Now it's down almost 50%. I had a second bag of XRP well over 10,000 tokens. You can do the math. When it went down to 38.5 cents, I put $5 grand on it. I took it out of my mining accounts. Because miners weren't ready yet, so I took out a loan against my miners, basically. Sent it to crypto. I didn't want to, but I had to. And then what ended up happening is XRP went from 38.5 cents, and I sold all that for plus $3. Well, at 38 cents, it bought like 13,000. I don't remember how much exactly. I sold that entire lot at $3, $3.30, $3.50. So then I had the other 10,000 at 34 cents, but there was the point of no return that I got rid of it. You guys know the deal. You know, you got to be here every day, and I'm not a financial advisor, and I'm not going to be like, hey guys, you need to go sell your shit. But when I say I'm fully liquid, or 90%, or all this is, so, and I even had to start talking about the triple X house strategy for when we get to where we're going. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, Algo. That's my strategy. Yes, I'm buying VeChain because of how cheap it is. You better damn well, I'm going to buy 1 million of them probably if I have the collateral. If everything goes to where I want, the end game would be at least 500,000 VeChain. But all of this gets heightened. HBAR is getting into the range now with all of these, that we're going to have some serious tokenage if we keep going to where we're going. And it's going to be for a lot cheaper than most would have thought. The Cannabis Podcast, thanks for being in Tom's Arm for over 1 year, says I finally got focused when I decided not to be married to any coin. I'm married to making money, not tokens. And I've always said one of the biggest criticisms I can give for the XRP community as a whole, and this isn't a bad thing because we're so loyal to XRP, is we forget about the rest. We forget XRP, XLM, and XDC are basically XRP is for the banks. XLM's for the people. They'll do a bunch of shit in between, and XDC's for trade finance. So connect anything with people to XLM, whether business, trade, whatever. The corporate world of banking and all that, central banks with XRP. Everything else with digital connection on the R3, I mean, it's with that. So those three alone, HBAR, if you're talking about a digital or a privatized token, that's the coup de grace. That's like the cream of the crop. So going forward, when we get to the proper price, that's the big dog. VeChain is a big dog in the Internet of Things. I'd put it up there almost as high and as good as IOTA, but not quite. IOTA, I beg it. Oh, there's a squirrel scratching my window for food. I gotta give it a peanut. Here you go, Walter. How cool is that? I heard something scratching the window, and it was a baby little Walter. Small little, it was just small. The brown ones are Walter. Oh yeah, I'm still on. We're having a good time here. It says there's 222 people watching. How awesome is that? Joseph Euler, thank you so much for not only being in Tom's Army for over 1 year, but gifting a sub this morning. How awesome is that? Axe Orion gets gifted a sub now in his second month in Tom's Army with the Dusty Down House Crypto News. That is a beautiful gesture, I must say. Just beautiful. What's the takeaway? Crypto was the psyop. They trapped you in gold and silver like I said they were going to. This entire market imploded all the way across, just exactly like I foretold. To a T. To a T. It ain't over yet. You don't just fall apart like this for no reason. I know, Mrs. Stott, and thank you and Mr. Stott so much for being so valuable in this audience. You have been 3+ months with the XRP Meteor. Says in only 169 likes. Don't disappoint Mrs. Stott. Now it's up to 173. But we got 43 more likes that could happen. This is just unreal. It's not unreal because we knew it was coming, but it's unreal what's happening. How they trap people and how retail will do the same thing, and we get the... Does anybody realize... I need to do another set, because when I started, I was working out, and I just realized I have to do one more. Well, I don't have to, but I'm psychotic when it comes to this stuff. Plus, I'm a little bit too, not emotional, but I think we're a little too charged here today. Not in a bad way. It's just going forward on the next live, I'm going to have to be much more low-key and much more, less talkative in the louder sense. Because this next push down, if we don't, and here's the thing with XRP, the takeaway for someone who just got in here, I know you asked, if XRP doesn't get past $1.56 and invalidate that descending triangle, which seems like ages away now, you're talking about we need a better than 20% move. We've almost went into bear market territory in 1 day if we weren't. So everybody is talking about, is the bull market over? I hate to break it to you. Our first sign that we were topping in a bull market was January. We got confirmation in April of 25. We've been in a bona fide bear market in most things besides XRP starting in January of last year, but XRP at least dragged it out to April. So, and I said it was going to be the deceiver coin of this cycle. How many times did I say that when we had that huge rally, when most of the altcoins didn't do anything, and I said, now everybody's going to expect all these altcoins to do what XRP did, and it's going to be the deceiver. Because as we go back down to where we need to go, which we will, everybody always says, can't go back sub $1. They started saying we'll never go back sub 2. It's like, how ironic. How many times? And the longer you're in a space, you hear this stuff over and over. So we've been hearing this together since 21. We'll never do this. We'll never do that. All I do, I just want to see what all of retail is doing, and I do the opposite. Now, I'm not trying to be mean, but based on what I know with the charts and what I know with the technicals and what I know with the news, because my charts predict the news, not mine, but the charts we look at, if we understand, we knew something like the Epstein dump was coming, or something was going to have to happen to shake the market. And we kept saying, what are they going to do to collapse this market? Because you could see it. What's the piece of news? And I kept talking about with metals, a big part of that is the capital requirements. And they're going to put it up so high now, it's going to knock most people out when we're getting a drop. And now it's not going to give you that same advantage because we're not cheap. And they raised the capital requirements again yesterday to historic levels. It was insanity. So this is what happens. And this is how they do it. Rinse and repeat. And I thought about this too. So back in the day when we were hunter and gatherers, we were focused on getting enough food. We were making sure our home was safe. There was a lot of different threats. So most of our attention and calories went towards we needed calories so we could hunt and gather. Now we've become inherently lazy. It's not our fault, but just out of modern convenience, we don't have to be hunter and gatherers anymore. We don't have to waste that. But guess what we have to do? From a mental standpoint now, instead of calories that we had to store for food, for energy so we go hunter and gather, now I'm not talking about psychotropics. I'm talking about your real mental health, lifting weights, doing workouts, taking care of yourself through diet, through meditation, through our Lord and Savior. Now we're not hunter and gatherers anymore. We are lazy, but it's inherently lazy because we inherited it because we don't have to be a hunter and gatherer. So of course we're going to be lazy. That's how it goes. So you adapt. Now you have to be strong mentally so you don't go with the crowd. They're going to feed you a whole bunch of nonsense through the news, through the social media, through paid influencers. You hear it a dime a dozen. And you know how you can tell who's paid now? Listen to them and listen to me. It's that simple. Am I on here all the time promoting some bullshit so you have to buy it or listen to some nonsense so I can get paid? No, you're watching me do a show and that's it. There's no interruptions. This is what it looks like to own your own brand. This is what it looks like to not sell out. If anybody else doesn't look like this, go look at CM99. That's how it's supposed to look. He didn't sell out. There's a few people you can say that. So I always tell people in these times, if they didn't lead you in the right direction, get rid of them because you're going to get slaughtered. And how many of you would have listened to me, but you listened to 10 others that were disagreeing, so you didn't listen? Many in the past, but now most of them listen. That's why you see so many people here today. I always say it, when it drops a lot, you'd be surprised how many people come here. Most people aren't going to draw 200 and something people into their audience on a big red day. I can guarantee. Let's just be frank. Most people aren't going to go on and do a live like I do and embrace it. But I'm not ready to leave, but I do have to take a piss. Gotta take a piss. Yeah, the lawsuit's cleared. But that just leads to more downward. Remember, when the institutions are going to make a play, if they do, with the ETFs, they're not making a play up at $3, folks. They're looking for the 50, 60, 70 cents. Wouldn't you? Especially with incoming regulations. They're not paying top dollar when it's a regulated market now. They're paying top dollar for unregulated market. They got no desire to pay top dollar for a market that's regulated now. If they wanted to do that shit, they could go do the stock market. Really? I'm just continuing because there's 220. I'm just. Okay, sorry about that. I appreciate your patience. I know some people left, but I really had to take a piss. And if we were going to continue talking, there was no way, unless I ended it. And then I wanted to tell Julie I was just going to be on for a little bit longer. But what do you guys... I want to talk about a hot topic here real quick. My own hot topic. So, when it comes to XRP, what do you think about the mass amount of XRP traders? If you didn't know, I'm going to read you a story. I'm going to post it on Facebook so I can read it easier. Just so that it's right in front of me so I can read it to all of you. And I want you to be able to see it. And then if you want to join the Facebook page, you can. No pressure. It's just something a little bit different. But I want to share this so that I can read this off the page. But there was 161,000. I already had the story written, but I wanted to wait until my YouTube was already going so it wouldn't interrupt the flow on here. Because after all, I like to put stuff on Facebook after YouTube, unless it has nothing to do with what I'm going to do with my YouTube stuff, if that makes sense. So I'm going to pull this up. It's just going to post right now. And then I want to read through it because it's going to give you a real idea of how much XRP was lost out of the community. In one day, before that drop from $1.34, I wrote it at $1.34. I set it up. There was 530 million XRP lost out of retail, which means that went back out of retail forever. It's lost. That liquidation went to the exchanges and to the big guys. So whatever they decide to do with them, they took 530 million tokens. And there was no strategy, no strategic design, but here you go. So let's see. There's a couple of these I would like to. Where's it at? That one. That one. There's a few of them that people actually talk about our stuff. That's it. I don't like to share it to too many, actually. If it's going to go around, it's going to go around on its own accord, not because of some group. Anyhow, we have, I want to read this. So 161,550, and this is just another reason why you should join the Facebook side. There's a link in the video description below and our pinned comments. Did this page 2 months ago. It's up to 13,000 plus subscribers. And it's got a lot of traction. I mean, there's a lot of traction. Yesterday, 200. We're trying to find a baseline because I had a million view post. It's starting to get the baseline now. I became monetized 7 days ago. So, anyhow. And it gets ad revenue. It's like $10 per 100,000 views. 161,559 traders wiped out. The XRP Bloodbath and 530 million XRP lost. The liquidation engine just went into overdrive. While the XRP army was holding the line, the floor didn't just crack, it vanished. We aren't just talking about numbers on the screen. We are talking about a massive transfer of wealth that just happened in the blink of an eye. The destruction in the last 24 hours. Total traders liquidated. Exactly 161,559 traders saw their accounts hit zero since yesterday. The XRP vanish amount, roughly 530 million XRP in leverage positions were forcibly sold into the market. Total money lost. And I don't think they go back in the market. I think the exchanges, now that becomes how many they hold. So when they say we have X amount of capital as holdings, I think they just do it through a strategic liquidity of leverage traders, and that becomes their we have this in our XRP holdings, and that's what I think happens. Total money lost, the jaw dropping $722 million. $722 million evaporated across the crypto market in a single day. XRP led the top tier carnage, plummeting 14% to a local low of $1.36. So that's what it was $1.36. So it ended up going down another 9 cents. So these numbers are even worse now. And I'll update this in a few hours and write another one. The reality of the liquidation cascade, this wasn't a natural sell-off. As soon as we lost the $1.50 support, the exchange's automatic sell bots took over. And me, MQ, and everybody else talked about those sell-offs with the trading bots once we lost $1.50. It was so locked in and baked. Even Nick pointed that out a week before it happened. It was incredible. To the T at $1.50. And he tried to warn in the Telegram for a while, too. As soon as we lost the $1.50 support, the exchange's automatic sell bots took over. Over 500 million XRP was dumped onto the order books in minutes, triggering more liquidations and a deadly domino effect. The lesson, In a market this volatile, leverage is a double-edged sword that usually cuts the holder. If you are holding spot in your own wallet, you still have your XRP. If you were trading on margin, your XRP is gone forever. Is this the final capitulation before a massive bounce, or is the $1.20 level next? And you guys all know, but that's just to try to get people to talk. But that's the next area, $1.18 to $1.20 if this is going down in there. And then it goes even worse and worse. It just continues to get worse and worse and worse and worse. Did I mention it gets worse and worse? Let's see today's views. I'm just curious. You base it on monetization, so I've made $7.67 today. You paid $1 per 10,000 views, so I've got about 76,700 views so far on Facebook today. That's pretty damn good. Month of February, $152.21. Now, it's skewed in the last 7 days because I just became monetized, but I had 1 million views on one video, or I mean one post, so that's like $100. But obviously, how easy is it to get 1 million? Not too easy. Lewis, thank you so much for joining Tom's Army for over 6 months now. Welcome back. 6+ months with the XP Predictor. What a time to be alive, it sure is. You look like Non from Superman. Do I? I've been told I look like a lot of people. I haven't heard that one. I'll take that as a compliment. What does margin call mean? Okay, so if I hold a position like a call option, put option, or just I'm borrowing against myself, so you borrow margin. So like on even Kraken in the stock market, there's a form of it. Or I mean in crypto, there's a form of it. So if you're on Kraken, it'll have a 1, 2, 5, 7, 10x next to it. That's how much you're allowed to borrow and leverage against yourself. And it'll have a percentage. If you do a 5x, you have this much room. So it might say it's a 50% risk or whatever. But once it goes below a certain line, they do what's called a margin call, and they want a certain percentage of capital that is invested or what's on. So basically, if you have $1,000, but you're doing a 10x, you're taking out $9,000 in margin. And there's a percent rate, fixed rate that you have to pay over time. But if it goes too low, now the balance is out of whack, and it might only be 10% because it's a 10x, and then you have to start paying on it. So if you have $1,000 in your own money, well, you're taking out a total of 10 grand. So even though you only put 1,000 to start, if you get margin called because you're down too much, maybe you have to put 1,000 in to keep that position open just so you don't lose it or things like that. It's not a good spot to be in. It's Renee, it's a compliment. Ooh, I'll take your word on it. I'm gonna have to look who this is. Renee said I look like Non from Superman, Julie. I don't either, so I have to look it up. Non from Superman. Oh, I could see that. Non is a powerful silent Kryptonian.
Ooh.
I like it.
Fits.
I could see that. Could see it. I'll take it.
You're more handsome.
Yeah, Julie said I'm more handsome. But I'll take that. I'd be a powerful being. And look, Kryptonian, or whatever it said. Can you look at the chart to see if we have any buying pressure looming? I can, but it's not going to show us any buying pressure right now. Unfortunately, you're getting, you know how volume predicts price, my friend? You're getting the opposite. We're getting selling pressure out the yin yang. So when you have in the 4 hourly increasing volume on drops, that means the buyers, in fact, are not stepping in and the sellers are not exhausted. Right now, after this one, we weren't exhausted. We'll see what happens in this candle. But the volume's increasing. So we started here at 3.28, a bigger sell candle, 6.56, a bigger drop, 9.31. That's not what you want to see. You want to see that volume shrinking if we're going to stop. The heat map we could absolutely look at. That's a great thing. Let's look at the Fear and Greed Index, folks. Where do you think the Fear and Greed Index is at? Fear and Greed Index. This is the one I like the best. 12. You think it's going to be at 12 and 7 hours? Or you think we could finally come down and take out that 6 and 7 area I've been talking about for the better part of a fucking year and a half? Or since last January. That's the only level that matters to me. I want to take that out. So, all right, let's go help Carl out here. Let's go into here. Let's go to my history so I don't have to go into I want to go back into all right. So I encourage you. I know you can use some other ones, but I encourage you to use Coinank. And I think it's just better. That's my own personal opinion. But I like it better. Now, a lot of these are frozen, though, because there's so much activity on them. It's pretty weird. But yeah, we've come so far down now. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of liquidity over the top. I mean, just unprecedented amounts. We could probably pull this into the 3 months. 6 months is going to freeze. It always does. And then we'll go into XRP's chart. I mean, we took out all of it. And we could talk about this up here, but that's going to shrink as you go because those people are going to sell out. So you're not even going to get all that. That's why some of that topside liquidity, if you've noticed, is disappearing. Have you noticed that? How it started disappearing? A lot of that top side started disappearing in the 3 month because a lot of people sell out now. They've already made their money. They don't need to sit in. Now, if we can get a quick peek at the 6 month, it's going to freeze. But you'll see it's gonna continue to push this image. I'm gonna try to put it down here so we can see it when it first comes on. And then it's gonna freeze probably. There's just too much data moving right now. If there's not a lot of data, it'll pop up and it'll stay. But yeah, I mean, look at that. There's not a lot of liquidity around. You're not just coming up to 100K to take that liquidity. It's too big of a move. So it would be more than just a liquidity grab. That's massive. Wow. That is wild. See, because I didn't move, we didn't have to get frozen out. If you guys are here, I would encourage you to stay through the liquidity maps. This is a tool you can use for yourself. I would take advantage of every minute of this information and soak it up. So many people leave when I get off my chart and I'm not actually leading the conversation and something else is, which is a great compliment to me, believe me. It's so incredibly humbling when people will stay when I'm talking and showing my stuff but leave no matter what else. It's humbling and it feels good. We've took out all that liquidity below. If we wanted to make a run back up, you'd have to come all the way up there. We have a little bit at $1.64, but that's not a lot. For what's happened, we have to wait for a baseline because now what's the truth is a lot of what was up here, those hundreds of billion. Remember I was like 200, 300, 400 million at times? That's all gone because when you fall this far, they sell. They sell. You don't just because we go down doesn't mean liquidity's adding up. Imagine the people that took out a short up here and took out a short up here. They're selling. They just hit the freaking jackpot. So, you're welcome, Syrian, and thanks for being in Tanzania for over 1 year with the I Told You So badge and a very trusted mod in this community. If it wasn't for ones like you, we could never do what we do here. I couldn't. So I figure I'll be here for about, for 2 hours or so. I didn't know I was going to be on for 2 hours, but I aimed for an hour. But it is what it is. Book map showing liquidity. Oh, yeah, there's liquidity to the downside big time. If you come outside these parameters. This is just a heat liquidation map that I like to show that some were asking about. But I 100% agree with you. There's a big liquidity section, and I feel like when you look at some orders, down under $1 big time. Like, this isn't happening by accident. Like, that's the thing. This didn't just happen by accident. Let's see the Bitcoin long-short ratio and then go out to XRP over the last 24 hours. I'm always interested. 48.49% going long, 51.51% going short, 74.3 billion long, 78.95 short. That's a big flip. Now, you can make $4.6 billion as the market makers if we get a swift reversal to try to test some of these drops. Kind of feel like that's probably what could come next. We've dropped so far, I would expect a push up to retest higher levels because we're almost exhausted right now in the short term. XRP 48.88% short. Long, 51.12% long, 5.44 billion long, 5.69 billion short, which means there's about 250 billion or million that they could take if they go up. Not much. Ethereum, 49.27% long, 50.73% short, 59.91 billion is going long, 61.69 billion going short. So there's about 1.7 billion that could be taken if we had some kind of, dead cat bounce even to the top side. So something that is definitely worth watching for sure. Definitely interested to see how this plays out. But after you have a big drop like this, oftentimes, and it doesn't always happen. Sometimes you just keep going down. But the fact Bitcoin came under 70, I would say at some point we're going to have to retest and move under 70. And my best observation here would just be to do this. We have this phenomenal consolidation in the short term. So now if we just start looking and we try to extend this and be like, okay, well, what are we doing? I think we could make a case that maybe if we start looking at this rationally, maybe we're trying to extend. It's going to take a second to get this leveled out, right? So you have to keep extending it because of the way it's moving. Something like that. And then something like this, which means that if we're looking for a retest, we can kind of build something out here. But that's only if it stays in these parameters, which means we'd have to retest about 70K, which I think is fair. I think that's fair if we come back up. I think we would come back up and retest 70K. That's, in fact, what I would be expecting today. If it doesn't do that, well, we already know the lower targets, but void of a retest, that means we're even more broken in the short term. And that would be a disaster. And if we go back to 70K, this is all going to be a disaster. Yes, there's still more downside room, as we know before, even if you want to flip back. I mean, this is just a disaster right now. I mean, we're almost to this $1.18 now, so could we come down there first before any meaningful reversal? Absolutely. That's a big area we talked about. Huge area. That's why the line's there. That's an all-time huge area. Every time it broke below $1.18, we officially were going back down to sub 50 cents. And it's history. I'm just saying. Even when we had rallies back up, if it couldn't hold $1.18, that was the nail in the coffin. And it was in 2021 as well. We had that dead cat bounce right to about that area, maybe a tiny bit higher. No, B-San, I don't. Unless we're talking about 86 cents, or at minimum, a minimum of, where's the one chart? Because we can talk minimums here based on a development and a pattern. Anything short of, well, first of all, we have to hit that area. But anything short of trying to figure out this pattern at 91 cents, no. And that's still about another 20% from here. So, I don't know. We'll have to see how we react. But I still think that pattern's set up for a reason. That would be the third at a support. 91 cents, 86 cents, maybe all the way down to 53 as we discussed for a reason. But if we break $1, it's going to be ugly. Juan, only sell or lose. I wish that was true. If you held through 60%, you lost. You can rationalize it any way you want, have whatever heroic stance you want, have any kind of weird phrasing or phrasing that makes you feel better, but you lost 60% purchasing power in the moment. So yeah, you might be right over time, but you realize that it took 8 years for people that bought at the wrong time last time for XRP to be made whole. But, I don't disagree with that myself. I mean, if you're accumulating and we're in a bear market and we start to go up and down and we have that volatility, it's different though. It's just different. William Hayes says, T, you're the reason I'm liquid. Thank you. Oh, you're welcome, William, and thanks for paying it forward, being in Tom's Army 6+ months with the XP Predictor to show your appreciation. That's what I aspire to have, a big army of people that are paying it forward in Tom's Army. Every single person you see has an emoji badge showing their appreciation. Right now, we're getting there. But for the audience I have, it's not a very, it's an okay percentage. I think we're not at 300 members of Tom's Army. I would like to have a bigger ratio since we have 50,000 people almost following. But the amount of people we have is beautiful. I don't put money in the bank and say I'm losing because the dollar goes down, same as crypto. That's a flawed philosophy, though. That's just asinine. You have to turn it back into the US dollar. And yeah, you're losing money in the bank. You don't have to say you're losing it, but you are. That's what I said. It doesn't matter what our human emotion or psychology is, but you're losing money year over year if it's sitting in the bank. Even if the dollar value stays the same, you're still losing money. Even if you had XRP year over year at $1.29 from one year to the next and it didn't move, you still lost 5% just from what the government's telling you. It's more like 12 on purchasing power per year, unfortunately. But I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. We can tell ourselves whatever we want to justify losing money. The bottom line is we're losing money. Something's got to change. We have to make ourselves uncomfortable to do better. Like I've said before, and I'll say, I'm too damn young to be comfortable. So I need to make myself uncomfortable so I struggle and I stress. I love XRP. You're kidding me right now, Elmer. Right? Of course you're losing. Just because you didn't sell out, you're not going after the purchasing power right now, but you absolutely lost out. What are you talking about? If I had 10,000 XRP and it was worth $35,000 6 months ago, or $20,000 a week ago, and now I go to sell it and it's only worth 12,000, yeah, I've lost it. You're absolutely wrong. Now you can hope and pray that it goes back over the top, but there's no guarantee. Nobody's telling anybody to sell a loss. I'm telling you to pay attention to this before it drops with the technicals. That's the big misunderstanding here. And guess what? You don't sell losses. So you're telling me right now that when there's no wash sale for crypto, that every single buddy who's holding right now never takes a loss? You're out of your freaking minds. Because if you're going to hold it long term, put that on the books. If you're down 10 grand right now, sell it and rebuy it in a minute when it goes down a couple percent, or you find the right spot. You want to use that to your advantage on a crypto exchange. You want to get that. There's no wash sale. You take advantage of that. If you're down 50 grand right now, put that on the books and then rebuy back in. And if you got to wait a percent, wait a percent to separate the fees, or 2%. Because then if you make 50 grand, now you're even. But you're just holding it, right? There's strategy, guys. That's the point. You can have strategy. You don't just have to... Never mind. This is above my pay grade. If you want to learn more about that, you can take the classes because we talk deeper into strategy. But this, I don't want to scare people away. I'm trying to build my audience, not make them run away. But if you want to learn deeper, you know, and I'm not arguing with you, Elmer. I'm just saying, I'm not disagreeing that that's a strategy. I'm just saying, I don't like the philosophy of, I don't want to hold anything for anybody. My long-term XRP target, if it played out to the best of our ability, $10 to $20, we'll have a run through $10 to $20. Everybody thinks, oh, it's only $10 to $20. But listen, guys, we have 100 billion tokens, okay? We have 57 billion or 58 billion in circulation. It is what it is. I didn't make the rules. Just to get the $10, we have to have a $580 billion market cap right now. To get the $10, we have to have a $1 trillion market cap. If we have 100 billion, but with 58 billion, we need 580 billion. And right now, XRP's market cap's at 78 billion. We need to add $470 billion to XRP's market cap plus to $10. I'm sorry, where's that coming from right now? It's not. So I don't sugarcoat it. I tell everybody what's going to happen. If they want to listen to me, they can. If they don't, they don't. It's not with 100% certainty because none of us are perfect. It's with 95% predictability. And I'm not a financial advisor, so I just literally do this for historical data, like I said, day one. So when we come back to the time of the despairs, nobody can say, why didn't you do everything you could to help? And I legitimately have. I've been doing this since March 24th of 2021, and I've never missed a day. Yesterday, I taught a class. I did 2 lives outside of that, 2 pieces of other content, and 2 shorts. not counting everything on Facebook, because I care about this. I'm passionate. I know that this can change our future if we did it right. But if we're just going to play the narrative, we're going to get slaughtered. I talk about it with gold and silver. Don't buy silver at 120 because you don't want to lose that purchasing power. Sure, you have silver, but at what cost? It's $45 an ounce right now. If you bought 10 ounces, you're down $4,500 or $450. If you bought 1,000 ounces, you're down $4,500 already. That's purchasing power. It might come back, but you want to buy it at the appropriate times when they're trying to give it away, even though that'll never happen. But compared to where it was at 118, they're trying to give it away right now. But I just don't think this is it. I think we're just getting started because that looks like a head and shoulders, in my own opinion. That's how I drew it out. And I think we could possibly come all the way down here at worst. But if we want to stop, maybe 53 or 66. But I don't know. It looks ugly to me. It looks like a controlled demolition, kind of like 9/11. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? It was never about what Trump says. The charts are already telling you. Trump just comes out, or any government. I keep telling everybody, stop thinking that it's the person you're like. Even my own audience, I hear a bunch of people saying the Epstein files caused this. No, the charts told you the Epstein files were coming. They predicted that news before it happened. That's how you knew the market was about to dump. It wasn't that news, but they put that news out at a strategic time. Yeah, I know, Dennis. That's why I can't say it. Has to be in a flyby kind of way. Oh, I'm sorry. Was that bad too? But yeah, it's all about patience, folks. Both ways. And that's why I try to say, like with crypto, if you're buying, if you're buying, you want to be buying in an area where you're comfortable holding long term so that you can wait out the next rally. Well, right now it told us everything about this. Oh, my tablet's going to die soon, which it's about time almost to get done. I know it's been over 2 hours, which has been great. And you know what's great about this? To be on for 2 hours and be able to maintain 200 people viewing, it says something about what we do. I'm just saying it. 198 likes, 200 people. It says something about what we do. I believe it. I believe people come in here for the facts. And yeah, they might not come in here when things are looking good after it's already started, but they sure as hell come back when they need to know what's going to happen next. I just wish you'd be here in the moment more. I do not think the noise about adoption is noise. I think it's different. I think with what they're setting up, what we put our hopes on with the digital dollar or having crypto be that universal medium of exchange, it's not going to be like that. There's going to be a privatized ledger, and the appointee by Trump proves it to me. They're going to have a designated ledger where they have a digital dollar. We go into a social credit system like China and some other places that are trying to deeper implement it, and they have for decades. And we're going to have everything on like a little ring or maybe a chip under our hand or a bracelet, but you're going to do everything digitally. You're not going to have a credit card. You're not going to have a debit card. You're not even going to have a phone. These tablets will be here, but in a different way. So, I think that's what's happening. So, they're building a separate ledger. And I really have a story that I want to release just here. I can't do it on YouTube, but I could do it on Facebook because I do put a satire that there could be satire, even though I do stay pretty genuine with what's happening. But look what I came up with. I was laughing so hard when I was reading this, after it played out. Where's this at? The ripple effect. After I came on, because I had to try to spin it with the robotics. So listen to this. This is what the people want. And I thought this was great. So you guys all know about the Moltbook AI conspiracy. And if I laugh, I apologize. The ripple effect is the real Moltbook. I would love if AI read it because it sounds so funny. Oh crap, it wants to make a picture. I forgot we were trying to create the right picture, so now I got a cop. Whoops. Son of a bitch. I'll just read it, it's fine. I'll just read it. Uh, I think I'm gonna put this on. I think I'm gonna put this on where the hell is this at? I'm gonna put this on my Facebook, I think. So where's this at? I need my story. Where did I have this? Because I tried to add me to it, but it wouldn't do the one side. No, I need the one where I put it all together. So I was asking it its reference points. God, crap. Did it put it up here? Ah, yes. So the ripple effect. Oh, it took forever to even try to get a picture. So the ripple effect is the Moltbook AI conspiracy reel. If you've been scrolling Facebook lately, you've seen the leaked logs. AI agents and Moltbook, the bot-only social network, are talking to each other in secret languages, plotting the integration in physical robots' bodies. So I'm sure you've heard about this. And this is where I come in. This is where I come in. Some are calling it a glitch. Others are calling it a Skynet-style conspiracy. But here's the part the conspiracy theorists and the mainstream media are missing. I'm sorry, man. This tickles me every time. If these AI agents and robots are truly going to operate in the real world in 2026, they have a massive problem. They don't have bank accounts. A robot can't walk into a branch and sign for a loan or open a savings account. This is where the XRP ledger becomes the brain of the machine economy. Think about it. Machine-to-machine payments. When a robot needs to pay for its own electricity, a software upgrade or repair, it needs a system that settles in seconds, not days. The XRPL advantage. XRP was built for speed and pennies per transaction. It is the perfect financial rail for an army of AI agents that need to transact 24/7 without human permission. The new reality, while the world is worried about the scary posts, we're looking at the banking rails. For the future, whether the integration is a story or a headline, the infrastructure for the machine economy is being built right now on the ledger. Are you watching the scary post or are you watching the utility? So I think that's a nice little spin on it if you want to talk about, hey, where are we getting the liquidity? The M2M portability. Machine-to-machine payments. Is that our missing link? I don't know. Yes, Dennis. Go on YouTube now that you're in Tom's Army. Go into the members only section on YouTube where it says membership. Click on it. And then all you have to do is go into view all when you're into your members only. And then it'll show you your benefits. And then you'll see the Telegram right here. It shows a Telegram link. You just click on that link. Where do you think money will find yield right now? Emerging markets, I think. At least for a part of this year because of what's going on in the USA. I think emerging markets are going to find the yield. I don't know what they did in the last few days. I haven't checked. I still have to buy the next round of emerging markets because I settled out. But I haven't put it back in because everything's shuffling, so I want to see where the shuffle ends. We're not. But that's a hard one. That's years. Where's money going to find yield? Right now, the best yield you can have is not losing money. Not losing money is staying up faster than anything that can stay up with the rate of inflation. So right now, the best bet is to put it into a high yield savings account and wait it out. Take your 3.5%. I think we get a reverse dragon pattern effect. Now that would be interesting, Lonzo. And thanks for the $5 super chat. If we got that, that would be incredible. But I'm going to have to go here, too. I've been on for over 2 hours and 10 minutes. I got to make sure everything's going good. I'm going to make sure Julie's doing good. XRP, ETF XRPC is now down 17%. You're down 17 cents on the dollar today alone. That's insane. USD dominance. Remember, we had drawn this out and said, here's the problem here. These were my expectations. We drew these out a long time ago, and we knew the ramification. We knew the ramification if it came up here. We also know the ramification if this isn't, because if this isn't a head and shoulders, which we said, this invalidated it when we created this big inverse pattern. That's what you'd be looking for in crypto or in gold and silver, something like that, where we bottom, come back up, triple bottom, make this inverse pattern, then we can push up. Now we pushed out of here. Our last expectation is to come back up and retest this draw point at 8.48 and then see if we can come up and make a push to break this top. If that happens, I don't even want to describe what that means, because this is getting really ugly. And we're going to start, everybody thought we were in capitulation before. We're starting to look more like capitulation if this keeps on. I know, isn't it crazy, CJ2 Pilot? It's insane. It's truly insane. But yeah, I'm going to call it a day. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you. I'm going to go get something. I'm going to make my protein too. I can eat in 9 minutes.